Bonefish and Tarpon Trust, Tarpon Genetic Research, we've realized that Atlantic tarpon are
That's a big fish
that are all genetically similar. When it comes to managing a species,
you like fishing? I love fishing. Well, you're in luck. There happens to be the greatest migration of striper going up the Hudson, and we are going to go fish for striper. Oh, Zoloff over here. He don't want to hear us fishing for any fish. He's listening too. Okay, welcome to Striper Fishing on the Hudson. We're here in Highland, New York, and we're going to do some shore fishing. Now I'm going to show you some of the tools that you're going to need in order to fish for striper here on the shore of the Hudson River. Fishing on a boat is a completely different tactic, and you'd be using different types of tools and different ways of setting up your fishing rod. Now, one of the things that I can't stress enough is that you want to make sure that you have your marine fishing license. The DEC travel up and down this road checking everybody to make sure that you have a marine fishing license. Now, the marine fishing license is free, but they want you to register. So you can go to NewYorkDEC.org or something like that and apply for it. Like I said, it's free of charge. Now, if you're going to do freshwater fishing, where you're looking to get regular largemouth, smallmouth, bass, pike, and so on, you're going to want to get your fishing license, and that is going to cost you something. Now, some of the tools here that I'm going to go over that you're going to need are right here. I have everything right here that we need. Some you're going to use just to set up to get ready to go out, and some you're going to bring with you. So let's see what we got here. Okay, so we're going to start with this. This is your herring net. Okay, this is for the bait that we're going to get with the scap net, which we'll go over in a minute. So you'll need something like this with a long rod, because when you're standing on the rocks on the shore, you're going to be up quite a ways, and your live well is going to be down in the water. So rather than bend down every time and get it, you're going to want a long enough pole to scoop that up. As you can see, I've got to fix mine. Years of fishing just beat up, so I'll fix that right after we're done. The next thing you're going to need is your striper net. Now, I had a really nice one. It was stolen here on the river, unfortunately, actually from my house. A little bit pissed off about it. So this net here is a little shallow. You're going to want one with a bit of a deeper pocket, because the striper get incredibly big. Okay, and then you'll need your tackle box. Okay, this right here is called a your bait rod. So this is where you're going to put your stoolie. Okay, a stoolie is a rubber fish. This here. Okay, you're going to need this or something like it. They make many different ones, but I prefer this size and length because what you're going to do is you're going to cast this out. I'll show you how to do that. Drag it in, and you're going to bring the herring. You're going to follow. A little weight in the front to keep it down in the water, and a lot of people like to keep the hook up just in case a striper follow it and go to eat it. I bend mine back in. I'm not really looking to catch any striper with this pole, though you can if you set the drag right. Okay, you're going to want a beater pole. Okay, something that you're going to throw down because after you bring the herring into the net, you're more than likely going to throw it down, grab your herring net, scoop them up, and then put them inside your live well. Okay, so then you have your main fishing rods. Now this is a bit of a heavy rod. You don't need a heavy rod. This is medium to heavy action. I do a lot of big fit like salmon fishing and so on, so I use this rod for that too. And I also use this rod to fish down in Florida in the Keys. So you're gonna, you usually use a bigger, stronger pole. This is mainly for boats and so on. It has the hookup for the pole holders. Then you have this type one. Oh, one thing I want to mention, this one has it as well. This is a bait runner reel, okay? This is a Shimano. That one's a Penn. I prefer to use a bait runner. This is threaded line. Now, when you're shore fishing, you don't really want to use threaded line, because if you use threaded line, it will cut on the rocks. But I also use this rod for salmon fishing, and I use threaded line for salmon fishing. So rather than change it out, I'm gonna go ahead and use it and try my luck. Okay, a couple of white poles, PVC poles that you're gonna want to stick in between the rocks, because you don't want to put your pole down in the rocks, otherwise your pole will get damaged. Okay, especially when the striper hook on. All right, then you're gonna need this is the scaff net. Okay, now the scaff net, okay, is a 4x4. Okay, that's the legal limit. All right, 4x4 scaff net. It is illegal, and I'll say this again, it is illegal to put a net like this in the water and use it to catch herring. Don't ask me why, I have no clue, but you can use this. Okay, this is beat up too, I'm gonna need a new one. There's a guy that comes around here, John. He makes these nets through the winter, and then he sells them here on the river. But here, easy to make. Just get yourself a long, like this is a bamboo rod, but you can get yourself like a long paint pole. Tape some string on it. This is a 4x4 pressure treated wood. Just cut yourself a nice block. Drill down the center, the diameter of a plowing marker. Okay, so the markers that they use for plowing you can use. All right, and then you glue a couple of rubber pieces down on the bottom of that, and then you get your net on there, and this is going to be your scaff net. We'll show you how to use that when we get down there as well. Okay, with that, you're going to want a bucket, because you fill this with water, and when you bring the herring out of your live well and you go to set the bait on your fishing rod, on your hook, the one thing about herring is that they die really fast. They don't really live too well out of the water. And when you bang them up, you bruise them, take the scales off or whatever, they usually start petering out. And then your bait's not going to do you any good, or at least live bait is not going to do you any good as you cast it out there, and you'll just have a line out there all day without a fish to catch. The other thing, you want to get yourself a nice long pair of pliers just in case you need them. Okay, and the reason why we're using this year is because there are two types of hooks that could be used for striper fishing. You got your J hook, right? And then you have your circular hook. Now, next year, the laws are changing again, and they're only going to allow circle hooks. Okay? And I'll show you what I mean. Okay, this here is your J hook. Okay? We can use these this year. Okay? But these are the ones that the striper actually end up swallowing, and then in the process of you trying to get it out of its mouth, you can kill the fish, and if you have to return the fish to the water, it's not going to be good. So what we use is a circle hook, and if you can see that, it actually it circles around and then comes back in. Now the purpose of this is that when the fish do take the bait and they swallow it, you don't have to set these, and as you lift the rod up or turn the rod, as it comes out of its body, it hooks onto their mouth. And when you hook onto their mouth, obviously it prevents them from hooking from the inside, and you end up not killing the fish. Okay, so these actually are very, very good. If you go to set these hooks like you would a J hook or anything like that, it will rip out of their mouth and you lose the fish. So you don't want to set these type of hooks. They'll set themselves. You must have these. Protect yourself from the sun. It's very important. And then here in the Hudson River, this river actually flows two directions. We get a tide, all right? We get high tide and we get low tide, all right? So right now it's a full moon, and so during the full moon, the tide is higher, it's a lot stronger. So we use about 6 ounces, 5 to 6 ounces. The minimum is 4 ounces. Okay, that's the minimum that you want to use on your rod. I'm gonna show you how to set up your rod and all of that, so that you know how to get that going as well. Okay, good set of pliers, and then without further ado, the famous live well. Okay, so you can make anything. You can take a Tupperware, or you can get and put some noodles around it, the pool noodle or something like that, that it'll float. Drill some holes on the bottom. Okay, you get a whole bunch of holes drilled on the bottom. This is obviously, I got the tire. You drop this in the water, this will stay up to the tire in the water, so when you put your bait in there, they stay alive most of the day. It'd be good to get something to cover over it so the sun doesn't keep beaming on the fish. One other point I want to make in terms of legality is that you're only allowed to have 10 herring at one time. You cannot have more than 10 herring as bait unless you have a commercial license, which you can apply for. It doesn't cost much at all, but then you got to count your fish and take the mark and report it and so on. But again, emphasize 10 herring. Okay, now does that mean 10 herring in the live well? No, it means 10 herring all together. That means including the herring that you're putting on your rods is counted as the maximum amount of bait that you're allowed to have.
The Eagle has landed. That's one small step